Hello again. In this video on the Renewable Energies series, we're going to talk about something that some people don't regard as renewable. Is it a clean form of energy? Yeah, I think it is. Nuclear energy. Now, there is nothing more basic than nuclear energy. At the end of the day, all you're doing is changing one thing into another thing. It alters its makeup at the atomic level and energy is released. That energy is in heat, gets warm. Nuclear energy. Public perception of nuclear energy, oh dear. Chernobyl, 3 Mile Island, Fukushima. The safety record of nuclear power stations is exemplary. You only hear of the bad bits, you don't hear of the good bits. I do believe that France does produce 80% of its power through nuclear power stations. Do you ever hear an accident there? No, you don't. But you've heard of the 3 I mentioned earlier. There are, in thermal power plants, ones that burn coal, gas, oil, even biomass, accidents. There are accidents happening all the time. You don't hear about them because it isn't newsworthy, because it's just another power plant. But if something goes wrong at a nuclear power station, ooh, not good. Again, when it does go wrong, it goes wrong. Take Chernobyl, for instance. It irradiated sheep in Wales, didn't it? They had mass slaughter of sheep because they were radiated by a power plant that was like 4,000 miles away. It has very, very far-reaching effects when it does go wrong, but they don't go wrong. The safety record behind them is really, really good. Again, the problem of nuclear waste. Now, nuclear waste, don't confuse nuclear waste with uranium that's spent. Yes, that is nuclear waste. Yes, we do need to dispose of that. But nuclear waste also takes into low-grade nuclear waste, such as paper overalls, overshoes, masks, anything that people use inside the power station is deemed as nuclear waste. You get these massive figures of 7,290 tonnes of nuclear waste produced last month. Yeah, it was. But it's not the sludge out the bottom of your reactor, it's the ancillary products, but because it comes from a nuclear power plant, it is classed as nuclear waste. Now, this fuels the public's perception of them being bad. They are clean. They are inobtrusive. There are plans for Rolls-Royce to produce a mini nuclear power plant that is big enough to service a town. I do believe the figure of £5 billion was bandied about, given to them by the government to research and produce prototypes of this nuclear power plant. Should our efforts to go into renewable energies not be fruitful? I think this has been kept from the public's eye because nobody wants a nuclear power station in the centre of their town. The size of a nuclear power plant that would be needed to power a town the size of Grimsby, I wouldn't like to guess. But I do know for a fact that it is being researched. So it's the belt and braces alongside renewable energies. Now, do you class nuclear power as renewable? It's not renewable as such, is it? It's not renewable. It's clean. It's very, very efficient next door to other forms of power production. You get your plant running, you just sit and watch it, maintain it, keep it going. It doesn't have to be turned down, doesn't have to be turned up, doesn't have to be cleaned, gassed. It's there. Obviously, the maintenance has got to be done, but you are not producing anything into the atmosphere. You're not producing gases. The only thing you're looking at is the waste that comes from it. Now, people aren't told how toxic the waste that comes from a normal thermal power plant is. It's acidic. They have to dispose of that somehow. But again, because it's not nuclear, and because if something does go wrong, it's not so far-reaching, it's forgotten about. I know 3 or 4 accidents last year in the third world, or the developing world it's called, on thermal power plants where many people died. You've never heard of it, but if it had been a nuclear power station, it would have been all over the news. Again, look at how many people have died in accidents at nuclear power stations. Very, very few. So, decisions have got to be made. Where do we go to get our energy? Is it going to be enough from wind? Is it going to be enough from biomass? Is it going to be enough from tidal? Is it going to be enough from hydro? Is it going to be enough from photovoltaic, photothermal? Probably not. So there is your belt and braces, and trust me, it is being addressed and looked at. I personally think it's a good thing. I don't think there is a problem with producing electricity using the most basic form of energy production, the decay of nuclear materials. No, it's not renewable, and it's going to be down to the personal choice. And is there anywhere else to go? I hope so. But at the end of the day, I can nearly guarantee you will be seeing more and more of these plants come in. It's a good way to produce electrical power. We will see.